Hello everyone and welcome to Tasmania. So this is episode 2 of In Her Memory, which is a series where I want to talk about women, specifically women who have been murdered. Obviously I've put on some of my nice colourful clothes. I've got a nice cute little pink mug with my coffee in to try and cool myself down a bit because this case did bother me. But before we get into today's video, I want to start with a quick disclaimer. This video will discuss stalking, harassment, violence and murder. Please take care while watching. And everything I share here comes from publicly available reporting, court records and official investigations. The images and footage used belong to their respective copyright holders and are used under fair use for educational purposes. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Shana Grice was just 19 years old. She lived in Portslade near Brighton on the south coast of England. She was described by friends and family as kind, bright and full of life, a teenager who had her whole future ahead of her. But in 2016, her life was stolen. And the worst part is she tried to get help. She went to the police 5 different times in 6 months. She did what we always tell people to do when they're in trouble, go to the police. But instead of being protected, she was fined for wasting police time. And 4 months later, she was murdered. So Shana had once dated a man named Michael Lane. He was older than her, 27 at the time, and they'd met through work. It wasn't a serious long-term relationship, on and off again here every few months or so. But when Shana decided to break things off with Lane and get back with an ex-boyfriend, Lane just couldn't handle it. And that's when the stalking began. It started with little things. So he'd send her unwanted flowers, she had damage to her car, just wouldn't leave her alone. And Shana did what anyone else would do. She went to the police. But instead of recognising her as a victim, the police turned the tables on her. Because she hadn't admitted straight away that she had once been in a relationship with Lane, they decided that she was just wasting their time. They fined her. Imagine that. You're being stalked, you're being harassed, you feel threatened, you go to the police, the people who are supposed to protect you, and you get fined? And of course, Lane's behaviour didn't stop. It escalated. In July 2016, Shana was asleep in her bedroom when she woke to hear someone breathing in the dark. Lane had stolen a key and broken in, and he stood there in her room watching her while she slept. Thankfully, she caught him. He was arrested and cautioned and told to stay away. But again, the police assessed it as low risk. Low risk. After everything. Low risk. The calls continued. Blocked numbers, messages, the constant harassment. It was obvious what was happening, but nothing meaningful was ever done. And here's the frustrating part. Lane had been reported over a dozen times by multiple women over the past few years. A pattern was there, clear as day. But I don't know, did they not just connect the dots, or did they not care? On the 25th of August 2016, Lane went to Shana's house, and what happened inside was horrific. Once inside, he cut her throat and set her bedroom on fire, attempting to cover his tracks. Later that day, she was found by a family member of her boyfriend. Lane was arrested almost immediately. And at first he lied, he denied killing her, but the forensic evidence and the timeline of stalking told the truth. In March 2017, Michael Lane went on trial at Lewis Crown Court. He admitted stalking Shana, but still claimed he hadn't murdered her.
Walked around there, the door was open. The front door was open.
Wide open or unlocked?
No, it was open. No, it wasn't wide open, but it was like half open. So I went in there. Her bedroom door was open, half open again, and she was on the floor.
Tell me about your thought process then, about what made you think, right, rather than just calling the police and the ambulance, I'm going to just leave.
Because I was scared. I didn't know what. You'd never seen a dead body. I didn't know what was going on. Didn't know.
Okay, so let's go with this idea that you're scared. Talk me through that. What were you scared would happen?
The police would turn up and think that I did it.
So the jury heard everything. The reports she had made to police, the harassment, the night he broke into her bedroom, the dozens of other women who had complained about him in the past. It didn't take long. Lane was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years. The judge's words were stark. He told Lane, "You killed Shana by slitting her throat. You set fire to her room, intending her body and the scene of the crime to be burnt beyond recognition." And the judge also criticised the police, rightfully so. He said there was seemingly no appreciation that a young woman in a sexual relationship with a man could also be a victim at risk of serious harm, which is very true. I do not understand the police in this case, specifically this one police officer, who I will get into in a bit, but it's not like domestic violence is uncommon, you know? Why did her and Lane being in a previous relationship have anything to do with stalking, as if he couldn't stalk her because they were in a relationship? I really just do not understand the thought process here. It really bothers me. And that was the heart of the issue. Shana wasn't seen as a victim. She was dismissed, brushed off, and treated as if she was to blame. Shana paid the ultimate price. It's a classic case of laws being written in blood. We hear way too many of these cases. In the aftermath of her death, investigators turned their attention to Sussex Police, and what they found was deeply troubling. The Independent Police Complaints Commission, later known as IOPC, carried out a detailed review of how Shana's complaints had been handled. They discovered a pattern of missed opportunities, mistakes, and a fundamental lack of understanding of stalking behaviour. 5 police officers were investigated. 2 of them, a constable and a sergeant, were found to have a case to answer for misconduct. One of those officers was PC Trevor Godfrey. The things I could say about this man, they're not pleasant, so I'll stick to the points I have down. So Godfrey was the police officer who fined Shana £90 for wasting police time. He did this after she reported Lane for harassing her, because she had not immediately disclosed to police that she and Lane had previously been in a relationship. Godfrey's view was that she had once dated him. Her reports of fear and harassment were less credible. It wasn't just the fine. During the misconduct process, it emerged that Godfrey had spoken about Shana in deeply dismissive terms. He told colleagues that she was a silly little girl and implied she was overreacting. He suggested that she enjoyed the attention that Lane was giving her and described her as someone who was playing the victim. These words, they're so cruel and cold, but they show you just exactly how her reports and her fears were undermined. So the IOPC later found that this attitude demonstrated a complete lack of understanding about stalking and about how victims often behave when under pressure. Instead of recognizing Shana as this terrified teenager being harassed by this older man, Godfrey treated Shana as if she was this manipulative liar. By the time these revelations became public, Shana was dead, killed by the man she was trying time and time again to protect herself from. When the disciplinary proceedings finally began, Godfrey resigned from the force, but by leaving, he avoided a full misconduct hearing. This meant he could not be officially sanctioned or dismissed, and he walked away with his full pension intact. Let that sink in for a moment. He had a terrified young girl come to his police station looking for help after being continuously harassed and assaulted. He fined her for wasting police time, called her a liar, and he knew he was going to get in trouble for it after she was found dead by the man she was reporting for stalking. He knew what was coming and knew he would lose his pension, he'd lose his job, and so forth. So he took the easy way out. For Shana's parents, this was another bitter blow. Not only had their daughter been failed when she was alive, the officer who fined her belittled her and spoke about her in such degrading terms, managed to escape any real accountability. And listen to this. Godfrey stood by the decision when giving evidence to the misconduct panel, and he said, "She, Grice, lied to police 3 times. It was only right I advised her she cannot keep lying in police statements and getting people arrested for it." So this is after Shana's death, after she had been killed by the man that she had been reporting for stalking her and harassing her. He knows this, and he's standing by what he did in not helping her, in finding her, as if she was the one in the problem. And he's still, after her death, talking as if she was the problem. Her parents were obviously outraged. I'm outraged. And one of the things they said was, "Our daughter took her concerns to the police and instead of being protected was treated like a criminal. She paid for the police's lack of training, care and poor attitude with her life." Godfrey is one of the clearest examples of how badly Shana was failed. This was a police officer entrusted with the safety of the public, and when a frightened 19-year-old came to him for help, he didn't protect her, treated her like a criminal. He punished her for asking for help. The IOPC's final report found Sussex police had failed to recognise the danger she was in. They had failed to act on repeated warning signs, including Lane breaking into her bedroom, following her and watching her from outside her home. And PC Godfrey's fine and his attitude became a symbol of the wider cultural problem within the force. A failure to take stalking seriously, a failure to listen to women, and a failure to protect. Force apologised publicly. Senior officers admitted mistakes, promised reforms and better training, but apologies and promises can never bring Shana back. This isn't just about incompetence, it's about arrogance, prejudice, and a fundamental lack of care for a young woman who was scared, vulnerable, and in desperate need of protection. Shana deserved better than Michael Lane, and she deserved better than Sussex Police, and she sure as hell deserved better than bloody PC Trevor Godfrey. Shana's story is a warning. Stalking is not harmless, it's not romantic, it's not persistent, it's dangerous. It's a red flag that can, and often does, lead to violence. It needs to be taken seriously every single time. But more than a victim, she was a person. She was a young woman, someone's daughter, someone's friend. She should still be here today. Now, if you or someone you know is being stalked, please don't ignore it. Contact the police. They should be doing better now. If for obvious reasons you are afraid to go to the police, there are specialist organisations that can help you. And I'll also leave helplines and charities numbers in the description below. Shana's warnings were ignored while she was still alive. So now, in her memory, we must make sure that her voice and her story is forever heard.